Hey, well, factoring into today's video, we're going to have a look at the Arctic Oscillation and the North Atlantic Oscillation today. It looks like we're going negative with both of them over the coming week to 10 days. So very interesting conditions over the pole. Does that necessarily translate to cold weather, though, for us and Europe? Well, it may not do, actually, for the foreseeable future. There's no real sign of the cold air dropping down. And that's quite unusual, actually, because when you get both of these indexes go negative, you usually finish up pretty cold. But we'll have a look at all the charts in a moment. Before I get on with that, just want to talk about the ads. There's links to articles sitting underneath the web video here on the homepage at GasWeatherViz.com. Have a browse with widget. There's any articles that are interesting, click through when you finish that website, of course, and go read those articles. There's green keyword ads on some of the pages, so you roll your cursor over green keywords, both display ads. If you click through word, you go to the advertised website, be supporting GasWeatherViz.com by doing that. And Gav Shopping Zone, so if you've got any Christmas shopping to do at Amazon between now and Christmas, just click through the banners in Gav Shop and it'll take you through to Amazon. Then you don't need to do anything else, just do your Christmas shopping as normal. But because you've gone through from GasWeatherViz to Amazon, we get a royalty fee on the things that you're purchasing. Thanks very much for getting involved, and thanks for doing that. So we're going to start off with the Arctic Oscillation observed and forecast charts. The black line here is telling us where the Arctic Oscillation has been. The red lines are telling us where the Arctic Oscillation is forecast to go. Now, the Arctic Oscillation and its cousin, the North Atlantic Oscillation, are indexes that are reflecting the state of the atmosphere in both the Arctic and the North Atlantic. They are not driving anything. A lot of people talk about these indexes as though they are drivers. They are not drivers. They are just indexes that sort of tell us what the state of the atmosphere is like. But it's the atmosphere that is driving these indexes, not the other way round. So yeah, the black line is where we currently are, just there, and we're around neutral, but we can see that over the next few days we are forecast to go significantly negative with all of these red lines plunging down. Real plunge there, going very negative with the Arctic Oscillation. Up to around the 16th of November, which is just here, and then we get quite a bit of scatter, but even then we're generally on the negative side of neutral. So this is telling us that we've got significant and substantial blocking appearing around Greenland, around the Arctic, around the North Pole, and that's the reason that the Arctic Oscillation is forecast to plunge very negative over the next few days. The North Atlantic Oscillation is also forecast to go negative. Now again, the black line is where the North Atlantic Oscillation has been, going right way back to the middle of summer, 16th of July. The red lines are where the ensemble of the GFS model is forecasting the North Atlantic Oscillation to go. Again, this is a reflection of the state of the atmosphere in the Atlantic, in the North Atlantic region. So when the North Atlantic Oscillation is positive, we've got low pressure typically churning away around Greenland and Iceland. We've got high pressure through the Central Atlantic in the Azores, and we've got a strong westerly really coming across the Atlantic into Europe. When the North Atlantic Oscillation goes negative, that's telling us that things are reversing. So instead of low pressure around Iceland, we've probably got some sort of high pressure, and we've probably got low pressure going through the central part of the Atlantic, around the Azores, and say into southern Europe. So we're currently quite positive, or a little bit positive, with North Atlantic Oscillation. Again, the red lines are going down here, we're plunging down, so again, the North Atlantic Oscillation, the same with the Arctic Oscillation, is forecast to be going negative over the next few days. Now, when we've got both of them negative in conjunction with each other, we normally get quite cold, but it doesn't actually look as though there's any cold appearing on the chart, so this is quite unusual. I think really more than anything, it's just a reflection of how warm it's been this year and how warm it still is over Europe, despite the fact we've got a fair amount of blocking and winds probably for most of Europe going into the east. It's going to take a long time really to shift that warmth out of Europe and to bring that cold air through. These are the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts for the next 8 to 10 days time, and as you're looking at them, we've got the ECMWF over on the left of your screen. The GFS is over on the right. This is taking us up to around the 20th of November. And blue is extrapolating to low pressure, orange is extrapolating to high pressure. Well, look at this. You can see why the Arctic Oscillation is so negative. We've got all of this red up here over pole, really stretching from Canada through Greenland over towards northern parts of Scandinavia as well. Vast amounts of blocking areas of high pressure there up over pole. And look at this exceptionally deep trough plunging down through many parts of the United States. That's going to have extremely cold air associated with it. So the winter is really, really biting already across many northern and eastern parts of the United States. They're going to be really in for it. Very cold air coming down with this trough. Now for us, things do look reasonably good to start getting some cold air in. Actually, we've got all of this red sitting to the north of the country and into the north of Scandinavia. We've got the trough out to the southwest around here, so the jet stream is actually going around that trough. It's a little bit to the south. You will think everything is pretty much set up, but it's just not quite right. What we've got to do, because we've got such a legacy of warmth really over Europe, we've got to bring this trough that you see here across the top of the pole, we've got to shift that down into Europe. If we bring it that way, that will bring the cold air down into Europe, and then it will start to push westwards across much of the continent and into British Isles as well around this trough. It's very, very close to doing it actually. This ridge here, this red area, just needs to push a little bit further west, and that would allow this cold trough to start plunging down into Europe. So we're not far from it at all, but it just isn't quite right. Despite the fact we've got the Arctic Oscillation, the North Atlantic Oscillation negative, you will think everything is in our favour to get cold air. It still isn't just quite set up right. And the GFS is very similar. That's Unit 7UF. The GFS is very similar with all of this. All of the blocking over pole, that extremely deep and very cold trough plunging into the north of the east United States. And there's that cold trough there that we need to move down into Central Europe to start to introduce that cold air. So here's the generic charts. This is the GFS for a week's time, Monday, Monday the 17th of November. We see we've got the blocking there around Greenland and to the north of Scotland. So yeah, we've got high pressure in there. We've got a shallow trough sitting over the country. But there's no legacy of cold air feeding into this. The cold air is up here. That's the trough I'm just showing you on the hydrogen anomaly chart. It's up there to the far north of Scandinavia. If that starts plunging down into northern, eastern, central parts of Europe, then we're going to very quickly push that mild air out of the way and we'll begin to cool it down across the continent. The day 10 chart looks like this from the GFS. Again, lots of hints of blocking there. High pressure is really dominating. It's a warm core high pressure, but if skies are clear, it would be cold enough at the very least to get frost and fog with that. But again, the cold air is still really just anchored to the north of Scandinavia, trying to get in, but things just not lining up quite right to do it. The upper air temperatures show this quite clearly. There's that very cold air on Monday to the far north of Scandinavia, but most of Europe, actually, despite the fact we've got a fair amount of blocking, and despite the fact that we've got all the indexes going for us, most of Europe is pretty mild with those upper air temperatures. Doesn't tell you the whole story. Down on the surface, if skies are clear, because we've got long nights, heat radiating away, down on the surface we could be cold, even with these warm upper air temperatures. It could be cold on the surface in terms of frost and fog, but the real cold, biting, bitter air is to the north of Scandinavia there. The ECMWF for a week's time, again, got the ridge, all of the ridging to the north and the northeast, trough out to the west. The flow is generally easterly, but the air is actually originating probably from the Mediterranean, so that's another reason, but it's reasonably mild. Go through to day 10, Thursday the 20th. Again, hints of lots of blocking around Greenland and Iceland. The North Atlantic Oscillation is negative. With that, the Arctic Oscillation is negative. Everything looks like it should be more or less set up, but the proper cold air, again, pinned to the north of Scotland. Now, the very latest run of the GFS eventually does bring this cold air down. So this is what we're looking for. This is a long way up. This is 348 hours away, Monday the 24th of November, 2 weeks. But look at this. Eventually, that trough that I talked about does shift southwards down into Europe, and there's all of the cold air that we bring bitterly cold air to most of Europe and a lot of snow as well. Still not quite feeding into us, but certainly that's better, and we've got a better chance there of starting to bring that cold air in. If we have a look at the upper air temperatures, look how most of Europe is now, or most of northern and eastern central Europe anyway, is now locked into a freezer. We're still in a pizza slice of generally quite mild air, actually, but it wouldn't take much from that to start bringing that cold air our way into the west of Europe. But that's what we're looking for. We're looking to bring that trough down on the back of the high pressure through Scandinavia into eastern, northeastern Europe, and then if everything lines up right, start to push that westwards across Europe into Western Europe. So it just goes to show you that you can have all of the indexes going for you. You can have the Arctic Oscillation Negative, you can have the North Atlantic Oscillation Negative, you can have lots of blocking, you can have more or less everything going right, but it still doesn't guarantee that it's going to get cold for us and for Europe. And it's really just a reflection, again, as I was saying, of how warm it's been through the year, particularly through the autumn. It's also a reflection of where we are in the world, really. We're next to the warm ocean that's pumping in all of that warmth from the tropical Atlantic, and it takes a lot, really, to get things into a cold scenario. But eventually the GFS does get there for most of Europe, and that's what we're going to be looking for over the next couple of weeks. Okay, I've gone on long enough. I hope you found the video interesting. We'll have a look more detail the next 8 to 10 days tomorrow. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.